Africa, a land of kings. Where's? But over 2,000 years ago, one African general did something so terrifying that the mighty Roman Empire almost collapsed in fear. His name was Hannibal, a commander so brilliant, so fearless, that Roman parents scared their children with just 2 words. Hannibal is coming. This was the man who marched massive war elephants across deadly frozen mountains, destroyed Roman armies again and again, and pushed Rome closer to destruction than any enemy in history. But how did an African commander nearly destroy the world's greatest empire? How did he defeat armies larger than his own? And why, after all his victories, did he still lose the war? Tonight, you are about to witness one of the greatest military stories ever told. Is the story of the African general Rome could never forget. Chapter 1. The Rise of Carthage. Before Rome ruled the ancient world, there was another superpower, a rich African empire on the northern coast of Africa called Carthage. Carthage was powerful, extremely powerful. Its ships controlled the Mediterranean Sea. Its markets overflowed with gold, silver, ivory, and weapons. Merchants came from every corner of the world. While Rome was still growing, Carthage was already wealthy beyond imagination. But these 2 powers wanted the same thing: control. And eventually, war became unavoidable. These conflicts became known as the Punic Wars. Brutal wars that would decide who ruled the ancient world. And in the middle of this conflict, a child was growing up who would one day terrify Rome forever. His name was Hannibal. Chapter 2. The boy who swore hatred against Rome. Hannibal was born into a military family. His father, Hamilcar Barca, was one of Carthage's greatest commanders. From childhood, Hannibal was surrounded by war, weapons, soldiers, battle strategies. But one moment changed his life forever. Before leaving for a military campaign, Hannibal's father brought the young boy to an altar. And he made Hannibal swear an oath of eternal hatred against Rome. That moment created a warrior, a future nightmare for the Roman Empire. As Hannibal grew older, his intelligence became legendary. He studied enemy tactics, learned warfare, mastered leadership. But unlike many kings and generals, Hannibal fought beside his soldiers. He marched with them, suffered with them, bled with them, and because of that, his army loved him. They would follow him anywhere, even into hell. Chapter 3. The Impossible Plan. Most generals attack enemies directly. Hannibal did something insane. Rome expected attacks by sea, but Hannibal created one of the most shocking military plans in history. He would invade Italy by land. That meant crossing rivers, enemy territory, deadly forests, and finally, the Alps, massive frozen mountains filled with snow, cliffs, and death. Even worse, Hannibal was bringing war elephants. Many people believed the mission was suicide, but Hannibal believed something dangerous. The impossible could become a weapon. And so, the march began. Chapter 4. The March Through Hell. This journey became legendary. Thousands of soldiers marched through brutal conditions. Freezing temperatures, starvation, enemy ambushes. Men slipped off cliffs into darkness. Horses collapsed. Supplies disappeared. And the elephants, the massive African war elephants, struggled through ice and snow. Many soldiers wanted to turn back, but Hannibal refused. Every step forward shocked Rome more and more, because nobody believed an army could survive this journey. Yet somehow, Hannibal kept moving. When his army finally crossed the Alps, the world could hardly believe it. But the worst was still coming, because now, Rome had to face him. Chapter 5. Rome Panics. Rome was confident at first. The Romans believed Hannibal's exhausted army would be easy to destroy. They were wrong. Very wrong. Hannibal moved with speed and intelligence. He trapped Roman armies, attacked weaknesses, used surprise tactics. Battle after battle, Rome lost. Roman soldiers began hearing terrifying stories. Stories of a commander who always seemed one step ahead. A commander who understood fear itself. Then came one of the most brilliant ambushes in military history. The Battle of Lake Trasimene. Hannibal hid his army in fog-covered hills near the lake. When the Romans marched through the narrow path, it was already too late. Carthaginian forces exploded from every direction. The Romans were trapped. Thousands died in chaos. Some drowned trying to escape. Others were slaughtered where they stood. It was a disaster. Rome was terrified. But Hannibal was only getting started. Chapter 6: The Battle of Cannae. Then came the battle that shocked history forever. The Battle of Cannae, one of the greatest military victories ever achieved. Rome gathered a massive army. Nearly 80,000 soldiers. They believed sheer numbers would crush Hannibal once and for all. But Hannibal had a plan. A deadly plan. He placed his weaker troops in the center. So, as the Romans pushed forward, the center bent backward. The Romans thought they were winning. But they were walking into a trap. Suddenly, Hannibal's strongest troops attacked from the sides. Then cavalry forces struck from behind. The Romans became surrounded completely. No escape. No mercy. Panic exploded across the battlefield. Roman soldiers crushed each other trying to survive. The slaughter was unimaginable. By the end of the battle, tens of thousands of Romans were dead. Some historians believe Rome lost over 50,000 men in a single day. One of the worst defeats in Roman history. The world was stunned. And now, Rome feared total destruction. Chapter 7: Why Hannibal did not take Rome. Many expected Hannibal to march directly into Rome. Even Roman citizens feared the end had come. But Hannibal hesitated. Because victory in battle does not always mean victory in war. His army was exhausted. Supplies were limited. Reinforcements never fully arrived. Carthage failed to support him properly. And Rome refused to surrender. Instead of panic, Rome adapted. The Romans stopped fighting large direct battles. They avoided Hannibal, cut supplies, attacked weaker positions. So, the war changed. Hannibal remained dangerous. But he could not finish Rome completely. And over time, Rome recovered. Chapter 8: The Fall of a Legend. Eventually, Rome struck back. A Roman general named Scipio Africanus invaded North Africa itself. Now Hannibal had to return home. The final showdown came at the Battle of Zama. For the first time, Hannibal was defeated. Rome had survived. And soon after, Rome destroyed Carthage completely. The once mighty African empire was burned and crushed. But even in victory, Rome never forgot Hannibal. Because no enemy had ever come so close to destroying them entirely. Final emotional ending. More than 2,000 years later, the name Hannibal still echoes through history. Military academies study his tactics. Generals admire his strategies. Historians call him one of the greatest commanders ever born. An African general who marched elephants across mountains, humiliated the world's strongest empire, and changed warfare forever. His story reminds the world of something powerful. Greatness can rise from anywhere, even against impossible odds. One leader, one vision, one fearless army can shake an empire. And for Rome, the nightmare named Hannibal never truly disappeared. Outro. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more powerful African history stories, warriors, empires, and legendary battles forgotten by the world. Because Africa's history is far greater than many people were ever taught. And the next story may be even more unbelievable.